Alrighty. Um, Dun dun dun. Where to start? Okay, so Sun and Blake go to Menagerie, and they're presenting to us the situation that the faunists are enduring, which is here you go, make the best of it, good luck, and don't die, I guess. So Blake is expressing to them, to Sun, that the world still sees them as second-class citizens. And while it's possible, I mean, we saw it in the first volumes of RWBY with poor oh my gosh, not again, Violet or Velvet, uh, the bunny girl. When Cardinal was harassing her, pulling her ears. So you still have some meatheads rolling around. Does it mark the general population? Perhaps not, but it might represent a large enough group that does create some sort of conflict within the faunus. Um, so they present the social status of what's going on with the faunus. Apparently, the two-thirds of the island are uninhabitable because of the very dangerous, vast, and barren desert. Um, from the looks of it, this is just me speaking positively here and trying to find the silver lining to things. But with time, it might be possible to slowly expand the city. Because on the cutscene where we see not Blake's house, where we see the panoramic shot of the village, we see that the desert hills are kind of like right there, and then there's the palm trees and the houses start. So I believe that it might be possible with time to slowly expand outward and I guess alleviate the compression of people living almost on top of each other and next to each other. Excuse me. Living next to each other and everybody so tight and cramped, like Sun said. So cramped. Um, but that's just me thinking positively. Will it happen? Is it possible for it to happen? Is the sand a boundary as far as what's barren beyond this point, and do we have soil before that? I'm not sure. I don't know the exact details, but it's just a thought that crossed my mind. Um, Mama Blake, super cute, and interesting detail. It seems that Blake's father was at some point a leader of the White Fang, but then he stepped down to become the chieftain, was it that they said, of Menagerie? So he's like the leader of Menagerie. Excuse me. So the White Fang came to report that Brother Taurus was acting on his own. I'm guessing so that there won't be any negative repercussion from the chieftain, Blake's father, in dissolving the White Fang branch in Menagerie. Um, because perhaps since the plan not failed, but since they showed their hand, I'm guessing the White Fang is now engaging in damage control and trying to not have sights set on them due to repercussions and consequences of what may have happened during the fall of Beacon. Um, Clearly, they still have their agenda and they are indeed aligned with Adam, who I think, based on what I know on what Blake has talked to us about Adam, he was a radical member who ascended to power. Is he the leader of the White Fang? I think he might be, even though the White Fang elsewhere say that he's not, but I believe they do follow him and his methods as well. So they're in damage control. They're trying to hide the fact that they showed their hand so that they limit the amount of repercussions that they might be facing and get shut down completely. Because if they get shut down completely, they become a rogue organization. And if that happens, then that means that they won't be able to recruit new members. They won't be able to keep pushing their agenda as they would like. Um, so that's possibly a reason of why things are going the way they're going. Um, with that being said, it would appear that Blake started in the White Fang here in Menagerie because those two representatives said that Sister. I'm thinking Elios, but Elios is a map in Overwatch. Um, Sister. Sister Ely something. Sister Ely something will be delighted to see you again. So that means that Blake has history with the White Fang branch in Menagerie. Now, if she also has or had close ties to Adam in the beginning, then it's possible they may have met either in Menagerie or they may have met somewhere outside of Menagerie when Blake might have gotten relocated during one of the movements of the White Fang. Those details are not quite clear, but what we do know, based on what was said, is that she may have started in Menagerie, especially as a child, because we saw the flashback video with her holding the little sign, the cute little Blake protesting. But again, she might have been traveling. Actually, you know what? It's not really that solid. It's very strong, but it's not so solid because if her father was the leader of the White Fang when she was young, then it's possible that she was just traveling with her father at different places. Um, but she did say that when the old leader stepped down and then Adam stepped up, was it possible that she had a falling out with her father since he was the leader and he wasn't so as active as she wanted him to be? And maybe they had a falling out because of that, and that caused perhaps the rift between Blake and her family as she decided to follow instead Adam at the time. And then she broke off and then went to Beacon on her own to find a way to fight. complex, and there might be loose ends that I'm not quite picking up yet. But I believe that is the story so far. Now, well, that's what I got so far. Psycho guy apparently is his last mission was to look for Ruby, was it? He was looking for Ruby. He was gonna go look for the spring maiden, I think it was. But then uh Salem told him to put that on hold and find Ruby, if I remember correctly. So, Psycho Guy went to the inn to get some answers. I'm looking for someone. So, that's preparing the stage probably for the next episode. We might be seeing Psycho Guy doing his thing. Hmm, hmm. I guess that's that for now. Blake seems really upset at the deal that the faunus got, even though Sun sees it in a positive way. I'm guessing she is heavily burdened by, I don't want to say the influence of what others have instilled upon her, but perhaps her rational thinking stops her from seeing the positive in things when it comes to menagerie. I'm not saying she's being negative, and I'm not saying she's being unreasonable. Um, but it does feel to me as if she's more heavy sided with the negative aspect of things when it comes to menagerie. Um, was it a raw deal? Perhaps. Um, could they have done better? Perhaps. Absolutely. Um, is it a terrible deal? Perhaps. There's I'm instilling myself here, and I'm putting myself and my perspective on things and my beliefs before everything else. Not before everything else. I'm being subjective with this character um evaluation. Um, I can see where she comes from. I totally understand it. I can see the reminder of what it is and how it must be a heavy burden. But on the positive side of things, I can also see the blessings hidden within the deal. They have a place for their own that they run themselves, that they're in charge of. Is it difficult to live? Of course. But one thing that has been resounding true and proven time over time is the ability to adapt and evolve. And, you know, it is possible That's why I said, maybe eventually they can start expanding outward and increasing the livable real estate of the area over time. And these are the positive aspect of things that I think of. Personally, me. Does that mean that Blake is a bad person for only focusing on the negative implications of the deal that they received, the Faunus received? No, it doesn't mean she's a bad person. Um, it doesn't mean anything. It's just her character. It's what she focuses most versus the other aspect of things. And again, it's probably because she's heavily burdened and taxed with the history of what's been going on since she was a revolutionary with the Faunus, with the White Fang, since early years. So it is possible that that may have attuned her in to be more heavy-sided on the negative aspect of things. To what's the term I'm looking for here? Pragmatic, I believe, is the right term. When you're always expecting or looking for the worst, is that right? Let me Google that really quick. Let me click here and click here. Let me see if I'm using the right term here. Pragmatic. Dealing with things. Theoretical. No, it's not pragmatic. Definitely not pragmatic. Dun, da, da, da. I don't know what word I need to use here, but it's the word that has to do with trying to look for the edge on things. You see something being presented and you're always wondering, wait, what's the catch? Oh, how can this affect me in a negative way? Oh, how will this be used against me later on in the future? That way of thinking. It is my opinion on her character because of her growing up, because of the things that she experienced and learned when she was a member of the White Fang. Um, that's just an observation. Um, da, 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 da. Versus, in retrospect, if you consider Sun, he sees the positive things in Menagerie. He's like, this is so cool. I've never seen so many faunas together. This is great because he hasn't really, or in my opinion, he hasn't really experienced the fight or the struggle that the White Fang had in the beginning and wasn't heavily influenced by the ideals of the White Fang, so on and so forth. It's only when he's talking with Blake that Blake presents her point of view and her perspective on things that he's like, oh, okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, this sucks. If that's the case, if that's what this really is, it's kind of bad. But he's still on the fence on it because he switches back and forth, you know? He still holds his ideals, but he wants to respect Blake's ideals as well. So that's the dynamic that is presented to us in their conversation. He just followed me home. He's a stray pet that followed me home. That's hilarious. I like him. um, so that's all I could gather from this episode for now. If more things, I guess I'll develop more things as we continue along. So for now, let's leave it here. Let's leave it here, and I will be. Let me boot the camera a little bit, and we're gonna go this way. So boop, 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 boop. I'm going to be putting in some things in here and organizing myself better. I got the whiteboard up here. I'm going to put some scheduled outlines and times so that I can actually get a better control on my time management skills. So expect better things here at the CharFox channel. We are committed to quality. Yeah, we are. So with that being said, let me fix the camera. Boop, boop, boop. Alrighty. Let's leave it here. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate everything that you do, all of your support, and your comments, your likes, everything really. It means a lot to me, and it does motivate me to keep pushing forward and finding a way to make time. Even though I fail at it a lot, I will try to get better at it. So with that being said, once again, thank you. Thank you for everything you do. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate everything you do. And until next time, mouse on the stop button. Take care, and bye-bye.
ふわふわふわふわふわふわりくるくるくるくるくるくる回るのふわふわふよふよふわふわりうるるくるくるふわふわ飛び出したの